Today on Conspiracy Theories and Chill, we're going to talk about the moon landings. According to NASA and science books, we went to the moon 7 times and landed on it 6 times between 1969 and 1972. While we were up there, we planted flags, we walked around and jumped up and down on it and took pictures. On later missions, we rode around in dune buggies. Hell, we even played a little golf while we were on it. We were exceptionally successful in our moon expeditions. In fact, only one mission failed. Tom Hanks made a movie about it called Apollo 13. But all astronauts on all missions survived the trips, and 6 out of 7 missions landed safely on the surface of the moon. Now, those are very impressive stats, even for top-notch science and aviation pros like NASA. Out of the 7 missions, you have a 100% survival rate and an impressive 85% overall success rate? Wow. That's a cool story, bro. Sorry, though. I just don't buy it. I don't believe we've ever went to the moon, much less landed on it. I don't think we could have done it back then, and I don't think we could do it today. I think they faked it, and I think it's obvious. Maybe not back in the late 60s and early 70s. That shit was fuzzy and cool looking on them little bitty-ass TVs. But today, looking back, the moon landing footage is laughable. Better television screens and computers have cleared up the images, examined them, and found them to be fraudulent. In this video, I'm going to show you why I say that. Another big reason that I don't believe that we've ever been to the moon is because NASA says that we can't do it today. 50 plus years later, with 50 years more advancement in technology and 50 years more research done by NASA scientists and engineers, and we can't do it again? Why not? We should be able to do it easy. We should be able to drill for oil on that rock if we wanted to. How come we can't do that? Well, for one, NASA says that they lost the trajectory data necessary for the journey.
Go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
That's right. You heard the astronaut. They just destroyed all the data from the most important accomplishments of mankind. That's a whole 7 missions and more than 3 years worth of data, mind you. That's a whole lot of data to just lose, but I guess shit happens, right? Nah, I'm calling bullshit on that one too. If I lost 2 homework assignments in school with that same excuse, my teacher would have called bullshit on me too, and rightfully so. You don't just lose data that is that important and historical. Then there's the fact that NASA also claims that we can't send humans through the Van Allen radiation belts today, but that we could do it safely back in the 70s 7 times? Listen to this guy from NASA talk about how we can't get through the Van Allen radiation belts.
We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth, 15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station. As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
Again, really cool story, but the phone in my pocket today is more advanced than the computers NASA were using in the 70s. Everything is more advanced today than it was 50 years ago. You don't think space travel technology has advanced in 50 years? If you could do something and do it so well so long ago, why can't you do it again? Why can't you even go outside a low Earth orbit? It makes no sense to me unless you never could do it to begin with. Now let's talk more about the problems with the moon footage. There are many problems with the moon footage as well as the pictures that were taken on the moon missions. Some are proven to be outright fakes.
Center of the Earth is viewed from the spacecraft in the eastern Pacific Ocean. We have not been able to visually pick up the Hawaiian island chain, but we can clearly see the western coast of North America, the United States, the San Joaquin Valley, the High Sierras, Baja California, and Mexico down as far as Acapulco and the Yucatan Peninsula, and you can see on through Central America to the northern coast of South America, Venezuela and Colombia. I'm not sure you'll be able to see all that on your screens down there.
That was Neil Armstrong describing a shot of the Earth from halfway to the moon. Now let me show you the clip of them faking that shot from low Earth orbit.
Here they discuss that these television transmissions were in fact not broadcast live as everyone believed. They were first screened and edited for playback later.
Roger, Neil. We just wanted a narrative such that we can, when we get to playback, we can sort of correlate what we're seeing. Thank you very much.
Here they discuss the fact that they have turned out the lights and have blocked out sunlight from entering the spacecraft through the other windows as to not cause any reflected light to fall onto the spacecraft's wall in the foreground.
Okay, very good. Well, we shut out the sun coming in some of the other windows into the spacecraft, so it's looking through the number one window, and there isn't any reflected light.
The reason this was done is so that the truth of the matter would not be revealed. It is this. Though the federal government would have you believe that this is a view of Earth from a distance out of the spacecraft's window as it nears the moon, it is not. What they have ingeniously done is placed the camera at the back of the spacecraft and centered the lens on a circular window in the foreground, outside of which it is completely filled with the Earth in low orbit. The circumference of the window then appears to be the diameter of the Earth at a distance, with the darkened walls of the spacecraft appearing to be the blackness of space around it. That is why they wanted the interior dark and blocked out the sun from entering through the other windows. Here you can see the extruded window, probably 2 inches thick at the bottom. This is because the Earth's shine is coming in at a downward angle. It also causes the Earth to appear to be an irregularly shaped circle, for you are seeing the outside of the window at the bottom and the inside of the window at the top, which together form 2 different sized halves of a circle. Subsequently, this take was never used. As they perfected the shot, a crescent-shaped piece of black material was inset slightly into the window to create the illusion of the Earth's terminator line dividing night and day. It is uncannily convincing. During this segment, intended to be edited and played back later for the worldwide television audience, dated July 18, 1969, Neil Armstrong condemns himself as he states that he is 130,000 miles out, or halfway to the moon, as the NASA flight log also states on this date, when he is in reality in low Earth orbit of a few hundred miles.
Roger, Houston, Apollo 11. Calling in from about 130,000 miles out.
Here, during another segment, also intended to air after review, Neil Armstrong falsely explains to the viewers how the shot is attained by putting the camera's lens to the window's glass, as it would have to be if they were the claimed distance away from the Earth.
We only have one window that has a view of the Earth, and it's filled up with a TV camera.
If the window was completely filled up with a TV camera, as he stated, then an astronaut's arm would not be able to get between the camera and the window, as it obviously does here in this outtake.
South America becomes invisible just off beyond the terminator or inside the shadow.
You can also notice how the astronaut operating the camera reacted to the mistake by attempting to pan away from it.
Blue cast. See white bands of major cloud formations across the Earth.
This is a segment that they believed wasn't even being recorded, much less suitable for broadcast, for the lens was being zoomed out and the scene was being changed to that of an interior of the astronauts at work, and apparently the stop button popped back up on the recorder without notice. Here is the diffused work light that they used to see camera controls, but not throw light onto the spacecraft's wall. Here they remove part of the crescent insert. Finally, the iris is opened up and you can see the real location of the camera and the very bright and near Earth out the window. Here is the slate for the 19th of July, and the same shot of trickery on the 19th of July, and then the 20th, and the same misleading shot on the 20th. Later that evening, they were said to be walking on the moon. How can this be when they were in Earth orbit only 9 hours earlier, and the moon is some 3 days' journey away? Furthermore, if they genuinely went to the moon, why would they be faking any part of it? Why this trickery with the window? By faking being halfway to the moon, it becomes apparent that they did so because they could not even go halfway.
I have to agree with her. There are also pictures with prop markings on rocks, like this picture here, where you can see the sea on this rock from the moon. In the moon landing footage, the astronauts seem to be on wires, and a lot of times just appear to be being filmed in slow motion.
Astronauts moving in slow motion is another hallmark of the Apollo TV footage. There is no evidence at all of any astronaut making a leap or a jump anywhere near a height commensurate with 1/6 g possibilities. But if they were actually simulating EVAs on Earth, they would then need help with their bulky heavyweight suits and backpacks in order to achieve the visual effect of moving around easily in lunar gravity. So enter wire supports. This is a tried and tested way of relieving weight from performers, or even flying an actor. Confirmation that wires were used is in the detail. Here in this Apollo 14 footage, you can see a ping, a momentary glint. And again, run slowly. And once more. There are other examples too. This one is from Apollo 17 during the flag scene. You can see the ping at the top of the frame. In this footage from Apollo 16, we have telltale evidence of a slightly floating or dangling effect at the jump salute location. It's as if the weight is being taken off the astronaut's feet just a second or so too soon. Compare that sequence with an obvious rehearsal rig. The dangling effect is very evident. And here again, from the same mission, Apollo 16, we have an astronaut who is about to get up.
Give me a hand. Okay, here we go.
Let me give you a hand, he says.
There goes back. There goes another back. Coming.
Look at it again. The astronaut is getting up with the wire taking the weight, relieving him of 5/6 of the Earth's gravity. A magic trick? No, just the help of a wireman. This is a slow motion jump that would have been seen live on TV. And here it is at normal speed. The well-rehearsed, pre-recorded material was apparently slowed down by 50% when we saw it on TV. And yes, we've done the necessary work to establish that percentage.
Then you've got all kinds of other problems with the photos on the moon, like shadows going both ways, videos of flags waving without wind. Evidence of Photoshop is also rampant in some of the photos taken on the moon. Now we have also got to talk about the Lunar Lander. I mean, look at this thing. This looks like I made it with a $100 budget out of crap from Hobby Lobby. This paper-mache looking craft landed 2 guys on the moon and got them back up off the surface of the moon to regroup with the orbiter and return safely home. This taped together paper and aluminum foil lander did all of that. In my humble opinion, the footage and photos, and that lander for that matter, are all fake. So they're at least lying about that much. But I think it's the whole thing. Some people think they just faked the footage because they had to for some reason. But they think that we still went to the moon. Not me, though. I think that they realized it couldn't be done and just decided to fake it. I think that NASA is just a front and a money pit, and that their version of space is just a staged production that they produce to justify their budget. Basically, I think NASA is nothing more than entertainment masquerading as truth while laundering huge amounts of money. People think that it's crazy to think that. I mean, you must be Looney Tunes if you believe that NASA fakes 7 moon missions. Thousands of people work for NASA. You can't keep more than 3 people quiet. How are you going to control that many liars? Well, first, you don't have to. Not all of them are even liars. It's called compartmentalization. Think about it your own job. Does your boss tell you every little thing or just what you need to know to do your job? It's like that, but on a larger and more military scale. Only the tippy-top people of that pyramid have the true knowledge of what's going on. Everyone under them are just drones on task to keep busy. Most of them are very well paid and don't question any of what they're doing there. They just do their jobs and clock out and go home just like you do. It's not like a huge project hasn't ever been done in secret before. The people working on the atomic bomb had no idea they were building the atomic bomb. You control the lie by controlling who knows the whole truth. Then you own those few people, whether you own their loyalty through secret societies or by blackmail of some kind. Now you're only talking about a handful of people knowing the truth, and these people aren't the type to do any talking. Some don't talk with words, but with their behavior and body language, like Neil Armstrong, who just acted really weird and avoided talking about going to the moon at all. He just stayed away from the public eye and was mostly just an angry, drunk recluse for most of his life. Watch him in this press conference right after getting back from doing the coolest shit ever done by man.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the Apollo 11 crew, astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin. Neil?
It was our pleasure to have participated in one great adventure. It's an adventure that took place not just in the month of July, but rather one that took place in the last decade. We all here and the people listening in today had the opportunity to share that adventure over its developing and unfolding in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July that was certainly the highlight for the three of us of that decade. We're going to divert a little bit from the format of past press conferences and talk about the things that interested us most, in particular the things that occurred on and about the moon. We will use a number of films and slides which most of you have already seen, and with the intent of pointing out some of the things that we observed on the spot which may not be obvious to those of you who are looking at them here from the surface of Earth. The flight, as you know, started promptly. And I think that was characteristic of all the events of the flight. The Saturn gave us one magnificent ride, both into Earth orbit and on a trajectory to the moon. Our memory of that actually differs little from the reports that you have all heard from those previous Saturn V flights, and the previous flights served us well in preparation for this flight in the boost as well as the subsequent phases. We would like to skip directly to the translunar coast phase, and
Those didn't look like guys who just got back from walking on the moon to me. They look like uncomfortable people being forced to lie at a press conference is what they look like. I don't know why they're lying. I just know in my gut that they are. And I'm no body language expert, but with these postures and behaviors, I don't think you need to be. The best we can even do today is low Earth orbit. That's as far out into space as we can go because of the Van Allen radiation belts. As you heard the nice engineer from NASA say very clearly earlier in this video, we cannot yet send humans to this region of space, is how I believe he phrased it. We have supposedly done it 7 times at least. But if, as you heard from NASA's astronaut Don Petit, they also destroyed that data. So they can't figure it out again today. They'd like to, but as he said, it'd be a painful, difficult process to build it back up. And with funding being cut to NASA, I doubt they'll be getting us through the Van Allen belt problem anytime soon. But maybe the private sector, maybe Elon Musk and SpaceX could do it. Maybe, one day, but I doubt it. There's problems with SpaceX as well, but that's a tale for another time. After hearing all of this, especially if it's for the first time, you're going to fall into one of 2 camps. Those who'll just dismiss it, and those who'll dig a little deeper into it on their own. And that's the camp that I make videos for. And if that's you, and you enjoyed this video, please share it and help spread the truth. Well, until next time, this has been Conspiracy Theories and Chill. Thanks for watching. While you're here, remember to subscribe to our channel for more videos and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of new videos from us.